All right, I want to bring in WALID PHARES, who is joining us at this moment. WALID is newly appointed Donald Trump foreign policy advisor. WALID, are you there? Are you with us this morning?
I am with you, of course.
Glad to hear it, sir. Are there terror cells? I mean, obviously there are terror cells in Europe, like the one that was activated. Are there terror cells here in America, like that one over there?
Of course, we saw in San Bernardino, we saw before that in Boston, we saw the attack in Chattanooga, and the 45 previous unsuccessful attacks. These are evidence that there is a network of cells, and there are also lone cells. It's just not lone wolves, but a group of 3-4 persons who would plan on their own. Then they will be allegiant to ISIS. It's their choice. But yes, we do have them here.
Now, you are a newly appointed Donald Trump foreign policy advisor. What would you advise him at this point? Bearing in mind, in the past and this morning, Donald Trump has said he's called for a temporary ban on Muslim immigration coming into America.
As advisor at this point in time, the campaign doesn't want us actually to enter the fray of discussing the policies because the policies are yet to be set up. But I could say one thing, and it's very clear, that we need to find a way to identify the jihadists. This goes along with what Mr. Trump has said and goes along with what I have researched for the last 25 years. The key here that the Europeans are struggling for, and our administration, and our Congress are struggling for, is how do we do to identify these jihadists? Well, simple. You have to understand their ideology, and the administration have to admit that there is an ideology. This is the key to everything else.
Walid, would you hold on for 1 second? I'm going to roll a soundbite of Donald Trump appearing on Fox earlier this morning talking about the border. Roll tape.
President Obama is taking in thousands of people, distributing all over the United States. We don't even know how many, and nobody even knows where they're going. And these are people that have no documentation. They have no anything. Nobody knows anything about many of the people that we're bringing into our country. And it is going to lead to, you know, just catastrophic problems.
Okay, you heard him there, Walid. Any comment after that?
Well, of course, there are two key problems here, and they're very clear. Number one is the vetting process. The U.S. administration doesn't have a vetting process. It was admitted by key, agencies here because we do not recognize that there is an ideology, and if you don't do it, then there is no vetting process. But more important is the fact, why are these refugees actually leaving Syria? Because of the failure of our foreign policy in Syria. We should have had a free area inside Syria for those millions of refugees to be settled in their own homes.
Briefly, I want to give our viewers some understanding of the enormity of what has just happened. In my opinion, in Europe, this will give rise to a further rise in the nationalist parties throughout Europe. Number two, I think it makes it more likely that Britain leaves the European Union. And number three, I think it's the end of Europe's policy of accepting mass migration of Muslims into the continent. And you say what?
I say you may be right on all these points, but most importantly, and this is going to be a European problem, the rise of the far-right extremist groups who are going to be saying, we told you so. And then now you see this jihadi activities. So either the Europeans are going to have to change quickly their policy, or they're going to be more of this, unfortunately.
WALID PHARES, we appreciate you being with us today, sir. Thank you very much indeed.